I get it. You scroll through endless listings, see a sleek tower with a 20-core processor, and think finally a machine that can actually keep up with my workflow. Then the box arrives, you plug it in, and the excitement fades because the performance feels more like a promise than a reality. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. That's why I'm breaking down the Dell Pro Tower the way a real buyer would, so you can decide whether it's a safe bet or just another glossy ad. First off, the tower is aimed squarely at professionals who need a workstation that can run multiple demanding applications at once. Think CAD, video editing, large spreadsheets, and yes, even modern games if you're inclined. It's not a budget hobbyist build. Dell is positioning this as an enterprise-grade desktop that you could roll out across a small team. The question is whether that positioning matches the day-to-day experience for a solo user or a home office. When you open the box, the first thing you notice is the clean, matte carbon black finish. It looks good on a desk, and the footprint is modest enough to sit beside a dual-monitor setup without hogging space. The front panel gives you quick access to USB-C, a power button, and a tiny LED status light, which is handy if you're constantly swapping peripherals. The tower's interior is surprisingly spacious, giving you room to add extra drives or a more powerful GPU down the line, something that many compact business PCs overlook. Power on feels smooth. The system boots into Windows 11 Pro in under 10 seconds, thanks to the 1TB NVMe SSD. That speed translates directly into productivity. Opening a 500-page Photoshop file or loading a large Revit model takes a fraction of the time you'd spend on an older laptop. The 16 GB of DDR5 RAM is adequate for most multitasking scenarios, and because the memory is on a removable DIMM, you can upgrade to 32 GB or more without having to replace the whole machine. For anyone who runs virtual machines or needs to keep several browser tabs, Office apps, and a design suite open simultaneously, that flexibility is a real win. Now, the headline 20-core i7-14700 processor is where the next-gen claim gets its meat. In real use, the extra cores shine when you're rendering video or compiling code. I ran a 10-minute 4K render in DaVinci Resolve, and the tower completed it about 20% faster than a previous generation i7 desktop I own. The clock speed can push up to 5.4 GHz, but that only happens under sustained load, and you'll hear the fans spin up noticeably. That brings us to the cooling solution. Dell uses a dual fan design that's competent but not silent. In a quiet home office, you'll notice a low to mid-range whine during heavy workloads. It's not a deal-breaker, but if you need a whisper-quiet environment for voiceover work or late-night coding, you might want to invest in a quieter aftermarket cooler. Connectivity is where the Pro Tower tries to future-proof you. HDMI and DisplayPort outputs let you drive up to 3 monitors directly, and the USB-C port supports both data transfer and video output. I've hooked a 4K monitor via USB-C and a 27-inch 1440p panel via DisplayPort, and the experience has been seamless. No flicker, no lag, just crisp visuals. There are also plenty of legacy USB-A ports for older peripherals, and a gigabit Ethernet jack that makes network reliability a non-issue for remote work. One hidden trade-off is the lack of a dedicated graphics card in the base configuration. Dell ships the tower with integrated SE graphics, which are fine for office tasks, web browsing, and even light video playback, but they won't satisfy anyone looking to game at high settings or run GPU-intensive simulations out of the box. If you plan to use the machine for serious gaming or 3D rendering, you'll need to purchase a discrete GPU separately. That extra cost can push the total price well into the higher-end territory, which is something shoppers should keep in mind when budgeting. Another practical consideration is the software bundle. Windows 11 Pro comes with a suite of business-oriented tools, including BitLocker encryption and remote desktop, which are great for IT departments. However, there's a lot of pre-installed Dell utilities that can feel unnecessary for a single user. You can uninstall them, but the process takes a few minutes and some basic comfort with the Windows Settings app. If you prefer a clean, bloat-free system, be prepared to do a little housekeeping after the first boot. Who should buy this tower? If you're a freelance engineer, a graphic designer, or a small team manager who needs a reliable workstation that can scale as your projects grow, the Dell Pro Tower hits a sweet spot. The combination of a high core count CPU, upgradable memory, and plenty of ports means you won't outgrow it in a year or two. It also carries Dell's business support reputation, phone support, on-site service options, and a warranty that can be extended if you need extra peace of mind. For anyone who values that kind of safety net, the value proposition is stronger than the raw specs suggest. Who should?